Hey everyone, thanks a lot for joining us today. Here is another excellent webinar. I've got Koura Linda with us. She's going to be talking about simple social media marketing. For all you dev people out there, I know how much you hate it, so she's going to make it easy for you. This is what we love, right? All right. So just to let you know that, Koura and I have worked together. She has been a SCORE presenter. So that is where she is coming from. But this is her first time in the founders group. So everyone give a big welcome to Koura. Take it away.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm a founder myself, so I appreciate and understand where you all are coming from. I have some slides that I'm going to just put up on the screen. The first thing I'm going to do is just a very simple kind of like, who are you and why are you talking to me? Just for some context, I do have some time at the end for some questions. So unless you're like lost, if you don't mind just waiting till the end for questions. If there's something where you're like, wait, hang on, I can't keep following. That's totally fine.
Yeah, and I'm going to stop you right there really quick. If you guys go to the 3x3 grid, next to the chat section, there's going to be the Q&A. You guys can put your questions in there, and then I'll save them for later too. So that'd be great. All right,
awesome.
As you were.
And I don't know if there's anybody here who has any sort of visual inhibition or what's the word I'm looking for? Impairment. So I like to do just a little audio description just in case. My name's Koura. I am a tan-skinned woman with brown hair down to my shoulders. I'm wearing a little Jewish star necklace, little K necklace, and a kind of blue denim-y looking blouse with bookshelves digitally behind me. And all of the slides have a little film scroll on them. They say Space Dream Productions and have our logo, and then I'll be saying what's on the slides for each one. So just as a quick overview, I started Space Dream Productions in 2013. We are an independent film and media production company focused on utilizing Hollywood quality storytelling for films, brands, and individuals. So I do make movies, and I also use that storytelling for social media and marketing. I have worked in marketing, public relations, things like that for almost 30 years. I took my first class on public relations in 1998. So I am pulling from all of that when I present information like this. We released our first film for Space Dream Productions in 2016. Names on the Wall. It's on Amazon if you want to check it out. But we've gotten over 200 award nominations and have 20 different Best Picture winners and nominees and over 70 wins. These are just me in the film world for some context, different on set, traveling different festivals, presenting at different panels and things like that. Again, these are films. One thing, the reason why I like to share this is because a lot of marketing people come to you from a niche. You know, they are a marketing person for doctors, or they are someone who studied XYZ, and that's it. I try to use all of the different areas of experience and understanding to help support people. Same way, like our films are a range of genres. This is a spy thriller, psychological thriller, dramas, musicals, mockumentary, like a fake documentary, heist movie, sci-fi, musical, war film, comedy, dark comedy, documentary, all the whole 9 yards. The same thing goes for the clients that we work with. So I picked out a couple people here just so you can see kind of like the range. I don't just do one field, so I'm going to be speaking very generally about things. For example, these are some past and current clients. New Bird is an independent singer-songwriter. Solvency Now's bookkeeping, Gross building design. They do architectural planning and architectural designs. CASA is a domestic violence survivor safe house, basically, and support organization. Disability Clinic is a doctor who works for disability advocacy and educating the healthcare field. How to Be a Homeowner is a podcast by a realtor. Flora's Artscape is landscaping. Let's Go Today is a travel agency. 9/10 The Law is an audiobook podcast that we produced for an author. Jared Firestone is a national athlete currently training for the Olympics. And Forward Doc is an organization to support filmmakers with disabilities. So again, a range. And with that, simple social media marketing and overview. This is going to be very 101. I'm going to start with some base definitions just so we're all on the same page with regards to what I'm talking about and what I mean when I say these words. Marketing is very simply creating want. You are making people want something. Advertising and promotion is a little more nuanced. It is done to drive action. You want people to do something. You want them to buy something. You want them to go somewhere. You want them to participate in something. That would be advertising and promotion. And then public relations is how things are thought of. Social media kind of arches over all of this. It's not just marketing. It's not just advertising and promotion, and it's not just public relations. To dial it back even another step, media is short for medium, meaning the format or thing used to make something. In this case, the way a communication or message is shared with an audience. For example, when referring to media as in the media, or in this webinar for social media, it's things like newspapers, magazines, radios, television, as well as digital forms like websites, podcasts, streaming services, and social media platforms. So it's just the way that that communication is conveyed, whether it's on a piece of paper or through the great wide interwebs. Social media is media which is social, meaning it goes beyond receiving information like a newscast, and it includes interactions among people in which they create, share, and or exchange information and ideas. It has a social element. It's more of a conversation and less of like a lecture class. I put SEO on the same slide because I never know where to stick that as far as defining it. SEO stands for search engine optimization. Basically, the little robots that crawl the internet and decide what is important and what isn't, and how to put a web page in a search response as the proper response to that search and not pull up an old broken web page from 20 years ago that no one's using anymore. Simple terms, it's the things that make programs like Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo, etc. think that your content is priority, and it puts it at the top of the search results without paying for that spot in the rankings. You can also do Google AdWords and things like that. SEO is just an organic way of telling those bots that your content is relevant. So when someone searches for flowers for mom and you're a flower shop, your shop shows up as the first response. And it doesn't show up for someone on the other side of the world. It shows up for someone who's near you and could order from you. Content is the audio or visual things, or both, which are used for marketing and other forms of consumer consumption. For example, on movie streaming platforms, content is the movie and TV shows and posters on the platform that people watch. For music streaming platforms, content is your podcast or music or the logos and album art and graphics and all the stuff that go along with what people stream. For social media, content is photos or videos or reels or other posts like text on the different platforms. It's the thing that gets posted. So, social media and marketing content is things you as a business, brand, person, whatever, put out into the world, which helps you be seen by, become known to, and connect with the people or businesses or brands that you're trying to reach. And content creation is just the making of those things. It could be everything from your graphic to your logo, podcast, videos, etc. All right. There's lots of different social media places that you can put, platforms that you can put content. I picked kind of some of the most popular ones. Depending on your industry, there are other things. For example, there's something called Angie, used to be Angie's List, House. Those are big for like home improvement, construction, landscaping, things like that. But if you're a fashion designer, you're probably not going to get anything from putting your content on House. It would be random for you to do that. If you're an interior decorator, it would be great. So I tried to pick the ones that more are open for anybody. In this case, I just realized I wasn't checking the chat to make sure that, oh, it just says TGIF. Okay, great, good. I wanted to make sure nobody was lost. So these are kind of the main social media platforms. You've probably all heard of Facebook. It basically, you can share text, photos, and videos. You can share something called a reel. And the only difference between a reel and a post is the way the platform treats it and how it presents it and how it shares with people who are not necessarily in your audience. Also, where in the app you watch it. It just puts it in a different place. Instagram is owned by Meta, the same business that owns Facebook. You can only post visuals on Instagram. Originally, it was a photo sharing platform. Then they added video. Then they added reels. And again, it's just another place where you can access those videos. Those are both places that you can have personal accounts or business accounts. YouTube Shorts, YouTube is a video sharing platform. So longer form videos, video podcasts, informative educational content, longer content. For me, like we have some of our films and trailers on YouTube. So it's longer video that's not just a quick little social media clip. Or for a YouTube short, it's a reel. It has a certain runtime. And again, it shows up in a different part of the platform. And it's another way to share your content. And it can be beyond just the YouTube style educational or other type of video. TikTok originally was a music platform. It's become very video focused. Politics aside, it exists. It's currently available in America. And depending on what country you're in, it has different limitations. It is a very popular way of sharing content. And it is videos. They recently made it where you can now add photos. For the most part, you post reels on TikTok. X, or Twitter, for those of us who remember back in the day, it was like sharing a tweet, sharing a little piece of something from your world, whether it was, I'm going to go have lunch, or whatever it is that you wanted to share. Very, very instant, immediate. It was used by a lot of activists and people, activating people, whether it was go to this store right now or come to this protest, like whatever it was very immediate. And now it was limited in how much text you could send. It added being able to add video, being able to add photos. Now you can make like chains where you like reply to yourself and you can do more than the limited character count. I haven't been on it in a while, but that is another platform. LinkedIn is basically Facebook for business. Instead of talking about your grandchildren, although you could mention them, you talk more about business matters, things that you would talk about in the workplace, collaborating and connecting with colleagues, peers, networking. It's supposed to be a digital form of business networking with a drive for business-to-business connections. It's also a place for hiring. It is very similar to Facebook, both in layout and in like what type of content you can post. You can post just text, you can post photos, and you can post videos. I just went completely blank. I know you can post reels on LinkedIn, but I don't know if they go to a separate feed or not. LinkedIn and Facebook both have something called groups. And basically what that is, if you remember the old AOL chat rooms or even like Discord now, it's basically a separate space where people can talk about a specific topic. Those posts will show up in people's general feeds, but you can go to the group and kind of have conversations and see information about that topic. Both Facebook and LinkedIn allow that. Pinterest is basically just a pin board. Imagine like a vision board when you're a kid and you stick little thumbtacks in everything. That's Pinterest, pins. It's a great visual platform. It mostly is used by people who want to DIY stuff or people who want to make a vision board. So it's not necessarily the greatest place to find clients, but it is a good place to be if you have a very visual type platform or a platform where people saving your images is going to help you. If you are a nail artist, if you're a hairstylist, if you're a wedding designer, if you're a wedding planner, just know that a lot of people are going to be saving it so they can copy it. So they may or may not hire you, but it is a very underutilized business networking platform. And you can put links. So like if you put your nail art, it can link to your website or it can link to another social media account or whatever. Blue Sky was basically a response to Twitter X getting very, very political. It's basically exactly like Twitter. There's just different types of people who are on it and different audiences. Same setup as far as the social media goes. Nextdoor is basically a geotagged Facebook. So if you are posting about you want to go somewhere for lunch, everyone who sees that post will be able to recommend places near you because it's tied to your zip code. So you'll see more things like there's an accident down the street. Does anybody know what happened? Or, there's a heavy storm watch, be careful. Or, I'm having a yard sale, or this is a great local business. It's very localized. So it's very similar to Facebook in how it's set up, but it is for your community and it's geographically like set. It's not like you're not going to become friends on Nextdoor with your friend who lives in another country. You're going to be friends with the guy who lives down the street. It's a great place for businesses that do local services. So if you only if you have a restaurant and you're not going to be shipping food around the world, you might want to be on Nextdoor so people can tag you and you can share specials and local events and things like that to your local community and the zip codes that are close enough to come to you. Threads is basically Meta's response to Blue Sky and Twitter, X, and it's just another form of that type of platform. The only difference between X and Blue Sky and Threads specifically is that you can use Meta Business Suite, which is a scheduling software and analytic manager to manage all of your Meta accounts at once. So if you're on Threads and you're on Instagram and you're on Facebook, you can control that all from one place without going to a third-party app. And that tends to make the platform like you more because they don't like people going off of their app. They like people staying on their app. Those are the main social media platforms. Not everybody needs to be on all of them. And I've seen people literally get 5 views, okay, not 5, but like maybe a couple hundred views on TikTok and hundreds of thousands of views on Instagram. Or on YouTube Shorts, they have 10,000 views, and on Facebook, they have a couple hundred. Different people are online at different times. They like different things. Posting across platforms can be beneficial, but it's only beneficial if that's actually going to help you. So I will say, don't feel like I have to post on all these places, but also don't feel like, what's the point? If 5 people see you on Facebook, but all 5 of those people buy from you, that's amazing. You don't need 1 million views to get 5 sales. You just needed those 5 views. If 1 million people see you on Instagram, but nobody buys anything, what's the point? So yeah, that's just something to keep in mind with all those different platforms. All right. So now that you know the platforms, you know what everything is, how you're going to start making content. How do you do this? So first of all, you need a cell phone. That's it. A quiet place to record and visible light. I have a very nice even light on me. My face isn't too particularly shadowed. There's kind of a weird shadow beneath I cannot talk. There's kind of a weird shadow beneath my chin, which I might adjust slightly, but I just have a window in front of me and that's it. The lights in my room are actually off. So this is a very simple way to light. You can also just use lamps. There's something called a ring light, which looks like a circle. You've probably seen it in Instagram influencer videos. You can buy them on Amazon. They're like anywhere from $15 to $40, depending on how fancy of one you get, but you don't even need one. All you need is a cell phone, a relatively quiet space to record, and light. That's it. If you want to, you can add on a microphone. There are the little microphones that clip onto your shirt. Please do not hold them like this. They are for clipping on and they plug into your phone, make sure they're charged, and it just cleans up the audio a little bit. You can get those additional lights like ring lights. You can do backdrops. You can get, fancy things from the internet or from wherever. You can get an actual green screen, but a lot of the editing software nowadays is so good as long as your background isn't like ridiculously cluttered or not discerning enough from you. Like if I was in front of a wall that was about the same color as my hair, that probably wouldn't work. You can just click a button and it removes the background for you without needing that green screen effect. Green screen, if you're not familiar, is just using a background that's like this very vivid lime green color. It is a very unnatural color that does not match most organic material or people. So you can use it and the software can recognize that's the thing that we need to change. And then it puts something else where that green is. But you don't necessarily need all of that. And then these are the optional add-ons. And then editing software. The reason why optional add-ons for editing software is because you don't necessarily have to have Canva or CapCut or Adobe. There's a lot of apps that are just part of, like you can edit in TikTok, you can edit in Instagram. I'm not sure if you can edit in Facebook. I think you can edit in Meta Business Suite just very slightly. And sometimes you don't need to edit at all. You just make your little clip and you're done. Now for the $1 million question. What do you create? Where do you start? What do you do? Your content should be geared to the people that you want to connect with. It should share your story and your brand or service or product. For artists, it would be your art or your story or your projects. So a lot of times there'll be trends or there'll be thises or there'll be that's. But if you jump on the trend, it may or may not be what your audience is into. And I've worked with businesses where they're like, oh, I kind of don't want to do XYZ because my audience isn't into that. And I'm like, yeah, we're not going to do XYZ. We're going to do the things that are going to connect you to your potential clients. No matter what it is, you're going to want to explain who you are and who your team is. If that's not relevant, fine. I do have a section on what's called a faceless video that I'll go over in a second. But as a general baseline, people like knowing, who are these people? Who am I buying from? Who am I hiring? What services or products do you offer? I was really surprised when, as for my company, we started going, we've done a lot by word of mouth. Let's start promoting and see if people can hire us directly. And so many people, even my friends, had no idea what I did. And I was like, we've been friends for 10 years. How do you not know? So what services or products you offer, you may not feel like you need to tell people, but you need to tell people. How is your product made? How is your service rendered? Why do you do what you do? What drove you to be a founder? What drove you to start this company or start this project or launch this product or launch this service? Who does it help and how do you help them? A very basic marketing question is, what problem do you solve? And I feel like that's basic. It's not just about solving a problem. It's about helping people. Everything, whether it's, just giving someone a nice night out at a movie theater or at a restaurant, or giving someone, a spa treatment is healthy for their body. It's helpful. I apologize. I don't know the industries of people here, or I could make more specific examples, but who are you helping and how are you helping them? Why does your brand or your product or your service or your industry matter? Because that can be a surprisingly big selling point for people. It's like, oh, actually, I need this because this is important. If you're selling shoes, that's cool. And, you'll get like fashionistas who want specific styles, or you'll just get people who just need shoes because everybody needs shoes. But what about making really good shoes that are like ergonomically formed and support your feet properly and all these other things? Like, why does it matter? What about this is different or interesting or important? Speaking of shoes, what's it like to be in your shoes? What's it like to go through your day? What's it like to, and you don't have to air your dirty laundry. There's a creator I finally I think I had to block them because they kept showing up in my feed and I wasn't even following them. And all of their videos were about like annoying customers and how like the customer like just complained. And they were like, yeah, well, you want this. Well, this is why I can't do that. And I was like, okay, I'm glad that works for you. That's a little aggressive. I don't need that when I'm like scrolling social media. But if that's getting them sales, great. So you have to decide what, how you're going to share, what parts of you want to share. I know people who have kids and they're active on social media and you wouldn't even know that they were married with children. They never talk about it. They never mention it. Their kids are never, ever, ever, ever on their account. I know other people where their kids are literally everything about their account. That's all they post is their kids. Not a great security idea, by the way. I know other people who talk about their kids, but never actually show their kids. So you can decide how much of yourself you want to share and what part of you want to share. What should people know about your products or your industry? Maybe everybody who comes to you, I worked with someone who did printing, like they printed like, pens. I'm looking to see if like I have something I can show as an example, but like, this is a Full Sail pen, but like, it's got the little logo on it and, that type of stuff. It takes a specific file type in order to print in a way that looks good. And they were just like, man, I just wish every single customer who came to me understood why I need this file type. And I was like, why don't we tell them? Like, why don't you just make that as part of your social media? Like, educate people, show them on the screen, this is what happens when you try to print this file versus that file. So what do people need to know? Show some behind the scenes. You can show holidays. You can show, like it was National Intern Day yesterday. So we just did a big shout out for all of our interns, and our PR intern like surveyed everybody. And we just showed like, this is our team and these are their majors and what colleges they're going to and what their dreams are and all that stuff. So again, you can show as little or as much as you want. Edutainment, it is a way of saying educational entertainment. It's not just fun or funny or silly, but it also teaches people something. And sometimes you might have people follow you just because they want to learn or they're interested or they're like, wow, I never knew this. They may never hire you, but they may refer you to someone else, or you may just make the world a better place by sharing that knowledge and by empowering people to be a little bit more educated in another part of their life. Very, very, very sparingly, product information, sales, and buy now. Remember, social media is social. It's a conversation. It's about the other person as much as it's about you. And if every single thing you post is buy this, buy this, buy that, like, you don't like that. I guarantee you, you do not sit on social media and actively just watch ads all day. Most people skip ads. Most people, as soon as it goes to the like and subscribe, nope, done, like next. So don't do that because it doesn't work. You can include things like, if you'd like more information, reach out. You can put calls to action at the end. You can do the, like, you know, comment this word and I'll give you more information or whatever, but don't make that every single post that you do. All right. How do you film all of that? Super simple. Make it easy to hear, easy to see, and with human generated captions of dialogue. Something like, I think it's 85% now, but beyond just general accessibility for people who are hearing impaired or deaf, over 80% of viewers will watch your reel without the audio on. They're either at work, in the bathroom, with somebody who's sleeping, in the car, in public transportation, no matter where they are or what they're doing, over 80% of people will have the audio off. And if your video is not captioned or it has auto captions, which are a hot mess and confusing, people aren't necessarily going to watch. So using human-made captions is really important. And almost every single platform lets you either generate the captions or correct the auto-made ones. So include some humanity in that because the robots aren't there yet. Make sure that you remember that everything in your frame is seen. And there's all sorts of horror stories of people who've posted things on the internet without realizing that something was in the background that maybe they didn't want in the background. Make sure you're lit well. Again, an open window works. Make sure you have good sound. I'm using something called a blue snowball. Looks like this. Little snowball. Like something out of Star Wars. Very inexpensive. You can buy it off Amazon, almost anywhere on the internet. Blue also has something called a snowflake. It's a little version of a snowball. You can get the lav mics. The lav mics are the ones that clip on, and it's from a French word. So you don't have to worry about what lav means, but it just goes on your collar or on your shirt. Be comfortable. It's really nerve-wracking, and trust me, it's awful. Like, I'm sitting here and there's like all these like profile photos like staring at me, and I keep trying not to look at them. But speak to someone. It really helps you relax if you pretend, okay, I'm looking through my camera, I'm talking to a person. You know, there's somebody here who I want to hear this, and I'm talking to them. Whether or not you're going to go to 5 people or 5 million people, it just helps when you're talking to a person and not just kind of talking at your camera or whatever. And it can help you relax. If you're shooting a reel, don't film it like this. Film it like this, because that way you have the proper framing and there's space for captions and graphics and that type of stuff. Try to go for about 30 to 90 seconds. 30 is better. Longer only if it's absolutely necessary. We've done videos where it just makes more sense for it to be 2 minutes long. We try to keep them on the shorter side. Unfortunately, for social media, people's attention spans are very short. And if they just saw a bunch of quick content and then all of a sudden yours is really, really long, unless it's engaging, not going to hold them. Part of holding them, you can do something called a hook, which is something you do in the first few seconds. You probably seen people be like, hey, how you doing? I got a quick question for you. And you're like, what? And then even if the question is stupid and you swipe away, you already watched for more than 3 seconds, and now the algorithm counts it as a view. And that means that it's being seen and it pushes it out to other accounts. It can be things like, you know, you're sitting in a chair and you turn around and you go, hello. It can be someone saying, like you'll see on our social media, someone will be like, hey, Koura, and then they ask me a question. And usually the hey, Koura to them starting to ask the question is 3 seconds. And that's just, it's just a hook. It's something to make people wait long enough to see what the information is. There's other ones that are more visual, like people who have the dark cup of coffee and they add milk, and then you can see what's written on the cup and they mix it, and then there's the message. Usually takes about 3 seconds for them to fill up the cup. Just algorithm stuff. Try to limit pauses, etc. It's hard. I'm the worst at it. We cut out all of my ums, or maybe. Um, but try for the most part, even if it means scripting it out and having a script, that can help, because then you're not like having your brain buffer as you're trying to think of the next word. Another thing is try to be what's called loopable. What that means is it's something that you can watch over and over and over again. We just edited a video for a client where it starts with, I do X. I hate marketing, blah, 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 blah. And they're talking about how as a business owner, it's really annoying that they have to do marketing because they want to focus on what they do. And then the very last thing they say is because, and then it's immediately back to her going, I do X. So when you're watching it, it starts playing again at the beginning. It's a little sneaky, but it usually takes people about 3 seconds to realize, and either they're going to watch it again because it was funny or entertaining, or they'll be like, no, and then they swipe away, but it already counted for 2 views. Why do the views matter? Because there are computer programs monitoring everything that goes on social media and deciding what people are going to see and what people aren't going to see. And when you get more views, it decides people want to see it, and it pushes it out into more people's feeds. I'm sure you follow a million people, not really, but you probably follow dozens, if not hundreds, if not 1,000 people. You don't see them all in your feed. You only see who the algorithm thinks you want to see or who it decides you're going to see. So these are some ways that you can film and create content that leans towards things that are going to help get your content out there. Now, I mentioned faceless videos. Not all social media has to show you or anyone in the actual video, especially depending on your product or market. So if you are a realtor, maybe you can just show the houses, but most people hire realtors because they like the realtor and they trust the realtor. A doctor, probably not going to go to a doctor you've never met. Probably not going to go to a dentist that you can't see anywhere online. But if you sell jewelry, people are going to buy the jewelry. They may or may not care who you are. If you make coffee, people are probably going to want the coffee. If you're a landscaper, I mean, there are some personal relationships that help with like contractor type roles, but you can focus on the landscaping for the most part. Even if you're talking over it, it is good to show yourself once in a while, but for the most part, you can show what's called a faceless video. Now, some brands, might not do as well with faceless videos. Others can do great. It is important to know that the algorithm can deprioritize faceless videos if the content seems too repetitive or is overly done or just copy of templates or AI. And I will get into that in a minute as far as AI use. But if you're making original, engaging, and personalized to you content, you can make faceless videos. Things like showcasing your product, your equipment, your production process, using limited stock footage as an interesting background behind quotes or captions or tidbits of information. Let's say you work in finance or money management and you have a quote about financial prosperity and you just have like money falling in the background. Maybe you are a landscaper and you have a quote about being outdoors and the benefit of that, or like the beauty of a flower. It would be cooler if you had like a video of like one of your flowers, but you can also use a stock photo. You can also use what's called meme footage. You've probably at least once in your life, if you're not familiar with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, at least seen the meme of the chief going, "Oh no, oh no." And it's put with something like that feeling when you realize taxes are due and you haven't done your bookkeeping. And then he's just like, "Oh no." And it's posted by a bookkeeping company. It's just a way of kind of recycling trending content and sounds on the internet. It usually just takes a little bit of creativity and kind of coming up with these ideas of like, how can we turn this into something funny, or how can we make this relevant to your brand or your product or any of your stuff? So you should just be creative and original in your repurposing, because if you're just posting what everybody else is posting, there's no need to follow you. They can just follow everybody else. And I'm going to say it, limit AI use. Why? To AI or not to AI? I'm not sure how, like, where everybody stands on this. I don't know if any of your businesses are AI businesses. If they are, I apologize, but I would be amiss if I did not talk about this. So I already mentioned that the algorithm is not going to favor AI generated content. If you're not familiar with the moral implications of using AI and you don't know about all of the artists whose work was stolen to train the AI, And if you're not aware of the ecological impact with regards to the water use and energy use and the just carbon footprint of this kind of AI monolith that has landed in our world, all of that aside, if you don't care about any of that, I'm going to share with you a brain scan conducted by a cognitive neuroscientist named Carmen Simon. She's one of my connections on LinkedIn. She posts these really interesting studies that she does. This one's a little bit older. There's actually a new study done by MIT that I should probably add to my slides. The MIT one talks about the cognitive decline of people who use AI, even just ChatGPT for conversations. This is from a pure consumer level. So if the ethics don't bother you, if the morals don't bother you, if you're just like, I don't care, I don't have time, I don't care about that stuff, it doesn't hurt me, I'm just going to do it anyway, it is going to hurt you. Because what her study showed is that when material was presented to audiences, whether the content was generated by AI and presented by AI, generated by AI and presented by a human, or generated by a human and presented by a human, the brain responded differently to each data set. And I'm sure you know where I'm going with this. There's something called an aha moment, which is when a part of the brain lights up with, oh, and that's called the eureka effect. And you can see it on like a brain scan. So the highest eureka effect was human-made content presented by a human. And that translated into better long-term memory for the sales message. The lowest was the AI presented, AI created, and the middle was AI created, human presented. So if for no other reason than you are just greedy and selfish and you want to make the most money possible and have the most effective sales, use human generated content created by humans, presented by humans. Additionally, current changes in platforms such as TikTok and YouTube can limit your reach or even demonetize your channel if your content is too heavily unoriginal, uses a certain amount of generative AI, or your content looks too much like other content. So it's not going to help you. And if none of that matters, if your content looks exactly like everybody else's, you're not going to stand out because you look like everybody else. So try to avoid AI use and make original content. Excuse me, I just need to grab my charger real quick. I didn't think it was going to. Okay. All right. So you've come up with content ideas. You filmed a bunch of content. How do you post? Pick a flattering cover. If you're talking and you're like, maybe you don't post that, maybe slide it over. Most apps will let you pick a cover. LinkedIn doesn't, which is a little frustrating, but for the most part, you can pick a nice flattering like one and put that on. You can also create one by either doing a screen grab and then putting the exact frame you want, adding text, whatever. Make sure your caption is relevant. Part of the data that goes in the caption as far as the word choices that you use will affect the algorithm. It will also affect things like AI data searches. So people who are using ChatGPT or any of these other Gemini, whatever, Perplexity to do data searching, one of the ways it gets information is from the captions. So make sure your caption is relevant, and you don't have to write a diatribe, but put enough information. Use choice and relevant words. Don't be a lexicon, but like a over pretentious dictionary, but use words that are relevant. You can also use hashtags. That's the this symbol data tag. That just also is another way of flagging information and saying this is about this. Data tags, hashtags have been so abused over the years. I'm not sure how useful they are anymore, but you can still use them as a way. There are people who will follow certain hashtags and be like, I want information about, Taylor Swift. And they click on the Taylor Swift hashtag and every single post about Taylor Swift shows up, or every single post about the Eras tour. You can do flower, you can literally hashtag anything. And then you can search that tag on Instagram. You can even literally just hit the tag and it'll pull up all the posts about that topic. You can use direct in-app scheduling. So you do not have to go on to every social media platform every single day and post all the time. You just don't have to do that. You can schedule it. So you go in and okay, this is for Monday, this is for Tuesday, this is for Wednesday. Meta Business Suite will let you do that for Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. And you can literally make one post, click all three of them. You can even click groups that you're in. Boom, post, you're done. Schedule, you're done. There are also third-party scheduling apps such as Hootsuite, Buffer. Those have been said to limit the algorithm because you're not posting natively on the site. I still know a lot of people who use them. You can decide to or not. Other platforms let you just schedule directly. So LinkedIn, you can schedule posts. TikTok, you can schedule posts. It just means going to the different platforms, scheduling them. It takes a few extra minutes. And you can cross post across platforms or not. You can change the captions, change the, do like A/B testing and all that stuff. Okay, I'm going to jump ahead because I mentioned A/B testing. So there are marketing firms that will charge you an obscene amount of money to A/B test things. And yes, there is a benefit. I will never say don't survey because that would be awful advice. But there is something called the coffee effect. Briefly tell you what that is. Once upon a time, there was a coffee shop that had a barista who was supposed to be there in the morning, but the day before, her friend, who she's never hangs out with, invited her to go out with a group of girls. They went out. She got drunk. She's not feeling so good. She called in sick. She's not available that day. And the barista, who's usually there in the evening, comes in the morning to cover her. And she's like, fine, I'll be better by the afternoon and I'll come in and cover you. And the evening barista is there in the morning. And an influencer who always comes in every morning and always gets a small coffee and a bagel, and that's their order every day, comes in. The afternoon barista, who usually doesn't see them, is a little starstruck, gives them a free upgrade to a large coffee, and the influencer takes it, thanks them, and drinks it. It's now 11 o'clock in the morning, and you've been sitting there with your posting and your scheduling, and you're like, all right, I've got this post and that post, and you randomly say, I'm going to put this at 11 o'clock in the morning on this day. So you did. That influencer who has millions of followers happens to randomly be friends with one of your followers. Total, just 6 degrees of separation coincidence. That person sees your content, they like it because that's what they do. Because they liked it, the influencer saw it. And it was pretty good content. So the influencer liked it. All of a sudden you went viral. Because at 11 o'clock in the morning, that influencer, I'm going to go there, had to pee. And instead of doing whatever they're usually doing, they were on their phone in the bathroom because they drank a large coffee because the barista was drunk. It sounds ridiculous, but that's literally the absurdity of trying to control who sees your content on social media. You have no idea. And there's 50 million, billion, trillion different things that can affect every minute of every day. And you have no idea who's going to see your content or why, and when you're going to go viral or why. We had the stupidest video blow up on our, I think we have almost 20,000 views on it. And I'm like, and I know, okay, 20,000 isn't like millions, but for us, that's a lot. And I was like, why is this is the stupidest thing? I have no idea. No idea. I once posted a meme for a client, just a little picture. I think it just said, grow where you're planted. It was pretty, it was nice. 1 million views. And they only had like 2,000 followers at the time. Like, it was ridiculous. So the reason why I go over that, and the reason why I mention that in line with A/B testing, is your A/B testing, unless you are specifically sitting down with a focus group and saying, which one of these do you like better, you're not actually A/B testing. And if you then try to replicate A because it went viral and it doesn't go viral again and you can't figure out why, it's because you can't control that barista that had to pee, or who got drunk and the influencer had to pee, or whatever. Sorry, it's a little vulgar, but I think it's kind of like, it works to explain the process. So I feel really passionate about that because I see people spending way too much mental stress and energy and almost losing their mental health at times because they're obsessing over their views and their engagements and why did this go and why didn't that go. And they can also start to kind of lose their voice because now they're obsessing over what went viral instead of just being themselves. And the truth is, if you just post and you keep posting and you keep posting and you grant yourself a little bit of grace, I'm going to go over that in a minute, you're going to be fine. So when do you post? To reach the widest number of people, post at different time and on different days, because you never know. You never know. Some mom's kid is sick and now she's home going through her phone. Some dad's car broke down, so he's waiting for AAA and he's scrolling on his phone. You don't know. Not everyone is online at the same time. And if you only post to the majority of your followers, like if analytics says the majority of your followers is most active at 2 o'clock on Tuesday, cool. If that majority is 30% because the other 70% is spread out through the week, that means you're only reaching 30% of your followers. You want to reach 100% to your followers. So if you only post to the majority of your followers and your buyers are in the minority, you might not get as many sales. I think the coffee effect was originally before this slide because I mentioned it here. That's also something to keep in mind. And then just the algorithm. You have no idea what computer coder woke up that morning and reprogrammed the algorithm into something different. You just don't. So just post, just put it out there, change the times. If you notice every single time you post on Wednesday at 4 o'clock, it does well, cool, post on Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Maybe you also post on Wednesday at 1 o'clock. If it's not affecting you, don't worry about it. But for the most part, obsessing isn't going to help anybody. Be intentional about your schedule with regards to how you manage your engagements. Don't just pick up your phone every time you get a notification, unless those notifications or messages are, or you are someone who gets leads in your comment section. In that case, you should be checking your phone pretty regularly. Otherwise, it's okay to reply to engagements once per business day. And Monday through Friday responses is also absolutely okay. Nowhere in signing up to be a founder did you offer to like forfeit your entire life to then live on the internet and appease the algorithm gods. Checking, answering once a day, 5 days a week on business days only is completely acceptable. Don't get lost in a scrolling cycle. That platform user interface, I said that, all of them are designed to hold your attention and suck you in and keep you there for as long as possible. The reason for this is social media is actually not a social media platform. Their product, their service is data collection and advertising. Their platform is not so grandma can see pictures of little baby. It's just not. They make their money by collecting data and selling it, by monitoring human engagement. That's just what they do. It's fine. That's just, you know, Tires Plus sells tires. Okay. Social media platforms sell data. They want you on the platform as much as possible because then they can tell their advertisers this, you know, we had 50 million people who used the app for 700 hours last week. Therefore, you should advertise with us because you're going to be able to reach this many people or whatever. So you have to be very, very intentional when you open the app and just be aware of that. Have in mind, I'm opening up the search bar so I can search this thing, and don't then click on something else. Just search the thing you have to search. Go to your notifications. If you're scrolling, set a timer, scroll, interact with people, support your followers, comment on their stuff. It is social, but use that timer as needed. Try to get a conversation going. If someone says, I love this, don't be like, thanks. Be like, us too. You know, what was your favorite part? Or would you like me to come next? Or what, you know, find a way to ask them a question. Use the improv technique of yes and, you know, validate what they said, acknowledge it, and then try to keep the conversation going. And again, spend time engaging with other people, both followers and also popular accounts. We've gotten a bunch of followers because I randomly commented, like, I'm on the account for the day, and I'm like, oh, I'll just look through here. And I comment on some like viral video, and then we get a bunch of followers because people liked our comment. Doesn't always guarantee, but it helps. And you can also share content, add people to your stories. Stories is another way of just sharing. It only lasts for 24 hours and it doesn't live on your page forever. Yeah. I went over the coffee effect already. And I'm almost wrapped up and we'll jump on questions. So how do you kind of organize all of this chaos? Because I just info dumped like so much stuff at you. Once a month, plan your content. Sit down, have a marketing meeting with yourself, have a marketing meeting with your business partner, have a marketing meeting with your intern, whoever it is. Just once a month, plan your content. What are you going to be doing this month? Look up specialty days. Are you a coffee shop and there's an International Coffee Day coming up? Are you a women-run business and it's like National Women's Month? Is there some other holiday that's kind of a big deal and maybe you shouldn't like post something random on Christmas, but you should say Merry Christmas? You know, like what, be cognizant of that type of stuff and plan it. Once a week, schedule your posts. Sit down for an hour and, you know, maybe you do it during a commute. Maybe you do it while you're like blasting some music. Maybe you do it while you're like watching a movie in the background. But once a week, take like an hour and just schedule out all your posts so you're just done for the week and that's it. Once a day, check your engagements. Once a day, do either live stories, like just a quick photo, like just got to the store, you know, ready for you all, or share posts to your stories. Share posts to groups, reach out to other places that you can share your content, engage with other people, be authentic, but don't air too much dirty laundry. Like, you don't have to tell everybody that you're hungover and you feel like crap. You can just be like, and it's Monday morning, and just like a picture of you holding a cup of coffee, and that's it. You can do stuff like that. Do simple trends. Scroll for inspiration. There's nothing wrong with seeing something and being like, oh, I could do a version of that, or oh, this is a way I could do that, or I could share that, or I could recreate this. Remember that the thing that is interesting is your product, your brand, and your story. That's what people want to hear about. That's what people are going to be interested in. That's what's going to keep people going. Encourage people to tag you and engage with them when they do. If you have a product people can buy, have them tag you when they buy it. If maybe you're a bakery, tag us and get 10% off your next order, or tag us and get a free cookie. Cookies, I don't think cost that much overhead to make. Maybe I'm wrong. Or who was I talking to? Apparently tea is the least overhead. I don't know. I was working with a coffee shop and they said tea was their lowest overhead cost, just the loose tea in a scoop of it. So you get a free tea if you tag them. Just do things like that, because then what you're doing is your product, your message, your service is now reaching that person's audience. And maybe it's 5 people, maybe it's 5 million people. You never know. And maybe those 5 people are all going to come in and buy something from you. All right. So your resources. To do all this, you need a cell phone, possibly a ring light, possibly a lav mic, a little clip, CapCut, Canva, some sort of editing software. In-app editing, there's a new Instagram editing. You can edit in Facebook, things like that. Meta Business Suite, if you want to use those Meta Business tools. Other post scheduling software, if you want to use a third-party app. And then you can use the account analytics just to kind of see. If you post on Sunday and you never get any engagement on Sunday, ever, you get like 5 views, maybe it's just not worth your time. Like, just don't post on Sunday. It's fine. But you don't know if those 5 views are going to be customers. If you get 0, like just nothing out of it, and it's taking so much of your time, fine. Focus on the times when you're getting the more engagement, but don't obsess over your analytics. I'm going to jump into questions, but before I do, I just want to add one more thing. Give yourself some grace as you grow. If you have 100 followers and you get 200 views, percentage-wise, you just blew Taylor Swift out of the water with engagement, like percentages. So remember that you might not get 1 million views, but if you get 5,000 and you have 200 followers, that's insane. Like, that's an incredible reach. So make sure that as you're growing your account and as you're growing up, don't like hate on yourself because you haven't hit 1 million followers tomorrow. All right. Any questions?
All right, cool. Thank you, Koura. Appreciate that. I do have 2. So you mentioned scroll time after you post. I usually tell all my clients when I mentor them that you just need to set a timer. I usually say 20 minutes. That way you don't get caught in the, doom scroll, as it were. So, it activates your reptilian brain. So that's what it's all about. How long do you suggest?
So it just depends on how much time you have. I don't think you should be arbitrary about it. Okay. I will say one thing that helped me was, as I was scrolling afterwards, I would scroll back up and look at how far I'd scrolled, how far down I'd scrolled. And it kind of like triggered something in my brain where I was like, that was a lot. That was a lot. So just as long as you're just being like aware of it and you're not like zoning out. If you have 30 minutes, great. If you have 20 minutes, great. If you have 5 minutes, great. Use the time that you have and don't feel obligated. Like, I don't have 20 minutes. Okay, great. Do 5. Do something. Yeah.
And I always tell my clients, make sure you're doing all the things that you want other people to do, which is like, subscribe, follow, share. So it's not just scrolling.
Yeah. That's why I said that's part of the engaging. Like I said, like people's posts, comment on them, comment on trending posts, comment on people who have big accounts, all of that stuff. Yeah. That's what that is. Yeah.
I also use social media tracking tools and posting tools. They usually have like some generated timestamps of when it's best to post. So
that's what I said about using the active time. You're hitting the majority, and someone could argue, well, if you hit the majority, then it's going to get a lot of views and it'll be shared to other people. I've literally seen people randomly go viral, like on a Sunday, which it's like, don't post on Sunday. No one's online on Sunday. I've seen people go viral on Sunday with like tens of thousands of views out of hundreds of followers. Yeah. So yes, you can do that, but I do stand by everything I said about that.
I hear you there. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
kind of funny when I did when I started doing a social media campaign a few years ago. It was like one of those weird things. It's like exactly what you said. It was like Saturday and Sunday mornings at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and it was 18 to 24-year-olds. And I'm like, what are these people doing? Is it like the walk of shame back to the dorm? What is going on? So
You don't know if they were at summer school. You don't know if there was a group trip or a class and there was like 118 to 20-year-olds that happened to all be together at that time, like who were sending it to each other. Like that's why I use the coffee effect example, because you just
never know. Yeah, I hear you. Got a question in the Q&A. Give me a sec to get over there. Felicity says, is it considered bad form to like and comment on other businesses in the same fields? Is it like poaching?
It depends what your intention is or why you're doing it. Think about, sorry, I don't have any water with me. Think about how would you feel? Like if I've given these webinars, I do it with SCORE, and I have people ask me and they're like, I have a marketing company and basically I came to your webinar to learn how to do what you do so I can do it. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'd like to help a business owner who is trying to do better. I guess you're a business owner, and if you want to steal my clients, go for it. But like I just wouldn't be weird about it, like if somebody does something and it's amazing, like if I see a filmmaker make an amazing movie, I'm going to shout him out. I'm going to, like, half of my connections are fellow filmmakers and I'll be like, check out their movie, or like I'll share their crowd funds. So I guess it just depends. Like if you're a dog groomer and you're just like commenting on all the other dog groomer posts, and then you're like posting very similar posts to theirs, and you're trying, like, that would be kind of weird. But if you're on LinkedIn and you're a lawyer and there's other lawyers who are posting, I have a lot of lawyers in my network for some reason, and I'll see like someone will post an HR tip and then another HR attorney will comment like, yes, this is really good advice. And it almost supports that other lawyer by validating them. So it really just depends on how you do it. And I'll quote the judge who said, I can't define pornography, but I can tell you what it is when I see it. I don't know how to tell you, oh, that's creepy or that's not, but you'll know that you'll have that like yucky feeling.
Gotcha. Any other questions out there? Ray, go ahead.
Hey, how are you doing? What platform do you see today bringing the most return on your investment, not only financially, but time-wise?
There, unfortunately, is absolutely no pat answer to that, because every single person is different, because their audience is completely different. And even industry to industry, someone could tell you, I've seen dentists do well on, oh, thanks, Shannon. Hi. I've seen dentists do amazing on LinkedIn, and then a dentist goes on LinkedIn and they're like, I'm not doing well. Okay, maybe their audience is on Facebook. I've used enough people's accounts and logged on as them and seen their feeds. Your social media, like your experience, is completely different even than like your best friend. Like my husband and I have very similar things in common. We like the same things. We have a lot of the same friends. We even send each other like reels and stuff, but his feed and my feed are completely different. And we're married and we work together and we co-own our business and we're together all the time. Like, so I wish I could give you like a surefire ROI. This is what's going to work for you. Unfortunately, when you're getting started, you kind of just have to start and see where it goes. We worked with a client where they were sure it was going to blow up on TikTok. They blew up on Instagram, like millions of views, like blew up on Instagram. And they said something about like, oh, I guess I should be, something TikTok. And it's like, actually, you're doing better on Instagram. And I was like, oh, they still posted on TikTok, but their focus was Instagram.
Right. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Going once, twice, 3 times. All right. Well, thank you very much, Koura. I appreciate you. As always, excellent content as always. I appreciate it. If anybody has any questions for you, where can they get a hold of you?
It's classified. I'm just kidding. Our company website or our email, it's info at Space Dream Productions, one space, one dream, lots of productions.com. So info at spacedreamproductions.com. You can email there. There's also a contact form on our website, spacedreamproductions.com. We're Space Dream Productions on all social media. If you want to connect with me, LinkedIn is best.
Gotcha.
Koura Linda.
I don't know. I think you have another question open there from.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Maroney had a question. Go ahead, buddy.
So yeah, I accidentally pressed that button. Sorry
Oh,
about
I see how you are. That's hilarious. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to let everybody get
I
back.
think you said, was this someone else
Oh,
said they had a
yes.
question or no?
Felicity said, thank you very much.
Oh, okay.
So,
Sorry.
all right, cool. Yeah, I guess that's about it. So everybody have a fantastic weekend, the rest of your Friday, and we will see you in the server. Thank you again, Koura. I appreciate you.
Happy to be here.
All right.
Thank
Have
you.
a great afternoon, everyone. Take care.